Hi, I'm Sophia Nix. This is Sophia Reviews, and today we're reviewing Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I've got a spoiler. I know who framed him. It was me. I did it. I set him up. It was all a setup. It was all me. Take me in now. I'm guilty. No, I didn't do it. But I do know who did, because I did see the movie. I've definitely seen this movie. I'm certainly not going to review a movie I've never seen, because that'd be strange. I've seen it. No, I have. I've seen the film. I'm going to review it right now, and you're going to watch the review. It's going to be good. Trust me. Trust me, it'll be good. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one of my favorite films, starring Bob Hoskins and a talking anthropomorphic rabbit, maybe even in my top 10. This is one of my late father's favorite films, as he'd remind me anytime I put it on. This one's for you, Dad. When this film came out, the animation quality and how the cartoons interacted with the live-action actors was just amazing, and honestly, even counting computer animation, I don't think anyone has ever beat it. It's still second to none after all these years. I would maybe consider the original Jurassic Park, but they use practical effects for many of the close-up shots. Anyone who watches this movie and walks away claiming they don't want to have sex with a cartoon woman or a cartoon rabbit is a damn liar or an asexual. Jessica Rabbit has no waist and giant boobs. Roger has riz for days. It's hard to say which one is hotter. That's actually not a joke. I'm still on the fence. I put this up there with Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Goonies, just a handful of films from my childhood I can still watch over and over, and they never get old. Except for Ghostbusters and Goonies, I've now reviewed everything I just listed. I guess I need to get around to those two. I bought Blu-rays for them and I just misplaced them. When a film is this damn good, a review seems pointless. You already love this movie or else you're a literal monster. In either case, nothing I say will really matter. This film was based off a book, but I'm one of those naughty girls who does not read. This is either a very horny kids film or a very kid-friendly film for adults. The film starts off with a cartoon baby and Roger Rabbit. The baby's mother tells Roger he's supposed to babysit. The baby will soon get into all sorts of trouble. He goes after a cookie jar in the kitchen, crawling over the stove. He turns it on as he goes, almost setting himself on fire. Roger Rabbit sees this and starts running around like a chicken with his head cut off. He gets a teapot on his head and ends up stuck in the oven. He gets electrocuted as well, and then about 1,000,000 pots and pans land on his head. He swallows an ironing board and then almost gets skewered by dozens of knives, all in a day's work for a silly slapstick wabbit. The baby reaches the cookie jar as Roger flies around the kitchen and gets stuck under the fridge. Then the director yells cut and the illusion is shattered. The whole thing is on a film set, but the director's live action. The rest is a cartoon. Plato's Cave reference here. I love to reference Plato's Cave. The director says the scene is ruined thanks to Roger. The baby storms off in a huff. Pretty much Roger's a poorly treated stuntman, hired to take a bunch of bumps and given no respect. His job is a nightmare. Next scene, it says Hollywood 1947, and we see Eddie Valiant, played by Bob Hoskins. He is being pitched a job in Toontown, but he hates Toontown. His partner was killed by a toon and he hasn't worked in Toontown since. Eddie Valiant walks into a bar and Daffy and Donald Duck are playing piano, and holy shit, these ducks work for rival animation companies, and this scene blew me away back in the day. These characters were still a big deal in the 1980s, made immortal on VHS tapes watched by kids like me. The thought of these two absolute icons teaming up was too cool for words. I was floored, flabbergasted. Think Sonic and Mario's first team up. The first time Bill Goldberg and Steve Austin were in the ring together, mixing a can of Coke and Pepsi into one very tall glass and drinking them both at once. Don Draper writing an ad campaign with Walter White. Your pants becoming your shirt and your shirt becoming your pants. A backyard bacon barbecue or barbecuing vegan bacon. That was all one take. There wasn't a cut just there. There wasn't like an obvious splice. Honest. You were seeing things. It was just one cohesive take. Betty Boop is selling cigars and cigarettes and she bumps into Eddie, and am I a big pervert? Is this implying that they used to bang? Jessica Rabbit comes out and sings a sexy lounge song. Sexy lounge singers were a big cliche in the 80s and 90s, but usually they weren't animated. Eddie Valiant calls the gorilla bouncer a chimp and says ooga booga because this is the 80s where racism was still written as being hilarious. He gets thrown out and takes pictures of Jessica Rabbit playing patty cake with another man. He shows the pictures of Roger Rabbit and this bunny is torn up. Roger flies through the window, leaving a Roger-shaped hole in the blinds. He cries over pictures of him and Jessica. It is revealed that Valiant and his deceased partner used to be clowns before they became private eyes, so Eddie, now a serious guy, used to be a silly guy. Eddie arrives at the crime scene and sees a safe was dropped on the suspect's head. Cops are playing with various cartoon gags like a hole you can attach to anything or a cartoon mallet. There's even a cartoon octopus playing a xylophone. Not really, but there could have been. Jessica Rabbit slaps Eddie and says, "I hope you're proud of yourself in those pictures you took." Christopher Lloyd plays Judge Doom, and he arrives at the scene of the crime and implies the pictures Eddie took caused Roger Rabbit to kill Acme for playing patty cake with his wife. He then picks up a cartoon shoe and dunks it in a barrel of toxic waste. That is called the dip, and this shoe did nothing wrong. That was cold-blooded murder. Back at Eddie's office, Roger cuffs himself to Eddie, telling him he's under arrest. He pleads to Eddie as the weasels pound at Eddie's door, and that is not a gay thing. I mean that literally. There is no justice for Toons anymore. If the weasels get their hands on me, I'm as good as dip. Roger hides in the sink as the weasels look around the apartment for him. Eddie keeps him hidden. Maybe Eddie doesn't hate all Toons after all. There is a scene where Eddie has no shirt and is talking to Jessica Rabbit. A short, hairy, chubby, bald guy and a cartoon one with massive breasts at a 6-inch waist. The two genders. It's funny because there's more than two genders. By like a lot. There's at least 3. That's funny too because there's a lot more than 3. No, really, I didn't just make that up. They're playing a sexy saxophone and I'm not sure which one it is for, her or him. She blows him a kiss and it flies through the air and smacks him on the face. Dolores, his work partner, is jealous of the kiss, and are these two banging? How many people are implied to have banged Eddie in this film? First Betty Boop, but now Dolores. In the next scene, Judge Doom walks into a bar and says, "I'm looking for a murderer. A rabbit, a Toon rabbit about yay big." And as he says yay big, he pushes down on the head of a little person because he is evil. That's why he does bad things. Because he's a bad person. Judge Doom knocks to the tune of Shave and a Haircut, and Roger cannot resist the urge to say 2-bit. All these old-fashioned gags are so inspired. There's a lot of retro 40s and 50s media in the 1980s, and while I'm not old enough to have lived through the 40s or 50s, I watched a lot of old cartoons as a kid on VHS. My dad was old enough to have lived through that time, and he had some gags that would make sense in one of those old cartoons. So I'm hardly an expert on the 40s or 50s, but some of these little details make it feel authentic enough for what this movie is, which is a cartoon with people in it. No, it's people with a cartoon on top of it, is the technical term. So they wiggle out of that pickle and end up in a talking cab that goes to a movie theater, which is playing a goofy cartoon. The fact that the cartoons in the film's lore are filmed like regular film just makes the scene cool and gives it layers. Eddie tells Roger a Toon killed his brother, and this is a terrible reason to hate Toons. You're going to blame all Toons for one person's murder? That is Toon racism, and I'm not going to stand for it. And not just because I'm sitting down. I also would have not stood. I would have sat down. If I was standing and I saw that scene, I would have. I'm not standing for it. He describes the burning red eyes and squeaky voice of the killer, and this is going to come into play later in the video. I just did the YouTuber thing. I'm hinting that something later in the video is pertinent to what I'm saying now, so continue watching the video. It's definitely going to work. You're not going to turn it off in disgust, right? That's such a trite tactic, so overused. You're going to keep watching? Cool, thank you. There is a scene where Eddie grabs Yosemite's gun, and his bullets are racist. One is a horrendous Native American stereotype. He then drives through the tunnel and sees a cartoon world all around him. They sing an "It's a Small World After All" type song, and then he heads right up to Toontown. I don't know if it's up. I don't know if it's north or what. Is it directly out from the rest of the city? I don't know. I guess it went through tunnels, so it's not literally up. Like, he's not driving directly up. He could, because it's a cartoon city, so that would make sense. It'd have internal logic to it. But he's not literally driving up to Toontown. Though he could be headed north to Toontown. In fact, that information could be right in the movie, and it just went right over my head. My silly little girl head. A lot of cartoon shenanigans occurred. I don't like to choreograph too much action in the second half of my review, so I'm just going to say it is wacky and zany. Everyone ends up in a warehouse, and Judge Doom admits to being the person that killed Eddie's brother. An end of the film action scene ensues, and in a Hollywood first, the good guys win and the bad guys lose. Literally never been done. I was shocked. This is a film where cartoons used to be immortal, but now a cartoon dressed as a human has invented a poison goo that kills them and is walking around like a hand-drawn Judge Dredd. as the judge, jury, and executioner. Yet when he is killed, he melts into his own goo. He does a comedy bit and says, "I'm melting, I'm melting." The sheer absurdity of doing a comedy bit while dying slowly and painfully displays the madness of the tunes better than any other scene in the film. And while the judge is unhinged, all the tunes are to varying degrees. So now if you've already seen Roger Rabbit, it's like you've seen it again through the eyes of a silly trans woman who likes to film silly reviews of films from her childhood. So that's it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Now you know exactly who framed him, because I let you know. It was me. I told you, silly. I already told you this. I framed Roger Rabbit. It was me. I did it. I'll do it again. I'll frame them all over again. I'll keep doing it. I'll keep framing Roger Rabbit left and right. You mark my words. It never gets old.